Welcome to the Self-Belief Podcast, the show that we shift your self-belief in, because self-belief shifting shifts everything. I want to share something with you that I use in my own work and inside my membership. It's called continued writing. It's a simple way to understand what's going on underneath the thoughts that you keep having. The thoughts that are hidden away in your subconscious, not the thoughts that you think you should have, not the conscious answer, the one that's actually playing automatically without you even knowing about it. I start you with an unfinished sentence and you just keep writing. You don't plan it, you don't edit it, and you don't try to make it sound good. You just let the words come out. And the reason this matters is because so many people are trying to change things in their life from the conscious part of their mind. They're thinking about it, talking about it, reading about it, and trying so hard, but they still feel stuck. They still react before they have time to think. They still say yes when they want to say no. They still shut down, over-explain, people please, go quiet, and then think, why did I do that again? Continued writing helps you see what actually drives that reaction. And believe me, this is not so that you can blame yourself or beat yourself up. It's so you can actually see what's going on. Because once you can see the thought, the belief, or the pattern underneath that reaction, you have something you didn't have before: choice. I've created a free continued writing for you to try. It's a simple 10-prompt version, and it's a gentle pace to start. If you know something needs to change, but you can't quite work out why you keep doing the same thing over and over, even though you consciously know that you don't want to, you'll find the links to the freebie in the show notes. Let yourself write without making it perfect and just see what comes up. Because one unfinished sentence can show you more than hours of overthinking. Once people begin recognizing how often they step into situations, another moment becomes easier to see. It's the moment just before they get involved. Welcome back to the Self-Belief Podcast. I'm Jenny Field, your self-belief expert from Just Being Me. And today, I want to talk to you about the moment that most people miss completely, even though it's the point where everything starts. Most people assume their actions happen automatically. Something appears in front of them and they respond without thinking about it. That can certainly feel true at the time because the response arrives so quickly. But when you start slowing down these moments, you often notice something else happens first. A thought appears. It might be something simple like, I should deal with this. Or it might be, I know how to fix that. Sometimes it's just, I can sort that. The words themselves may vary, but the meaning behind them is usually the same. You see a situation and immediately assume that it's yours to improve. That thought can appear so quickly that it barely registers. By the time you notice it, you may already be halfway into solving the problem. And that is one of the reasons people most often miss how their energy is being used. They believe they're simply responding to what is happening around them. What they don't always see is the moment where they decided the situation belonged to them. And for me, it was years. I just didn't notice that moment at all. I'd see that someone was struggling, that something needed doing, and my mind would already be moving towards the solution. I'm an incredibly solution-focused person. If something looked like it could be improved, I assumed I should deal with it. That reaction felt so normal that it had never occurred to me to question it. It simply felt like being responsible. Once I began to pay attention to where my energy was going, something became clearer. The moment I started feeling drained often came long before I'd actually done anything. That moment when my mind decided I should deal with this, my attention and energy had already moved towards the situation. I was already thinking about what needed to happen next. I was already working out how to improve it. The action might only take a few minutes, but the mental involvement, well, that often began much, much earlier. And that's why this pattern can be so exhausting over time. Your energy isn't just used when you physically do something. It's also used when you start thinking about doing it, analysing and working out how to solve any problem. When that process repeats itself many times throughout one day, it becomes tiring even if the tasks themselves seem small. And most people just don't recognise that connection. They only notice the tiredness later. They reach the end of the day and feel drained without being able to understand why. They know they've been busy, but the level of exhaustion they feel often is greater than the amount of work would suggest. When you start noticing that early thought, something really interesting begins to happen. You realise that the thought itself is not a command. It's simply a suggestion your mind is offering based on patterns you have followed for years. Because if you've spent a long time being the reliable one, just like me, your mind will naturally suggest involvement. If you are used to fixing things, your mind will naturally move towards solutions. But recognizing the thought creates a small amount of space. Instead of immediately acting on it, you can begin to see it. You can notice the moment your mind says, I should deal with this. You can recognize the familiar pull to step in. And once you see that clearly, something else becomes possible. You're able to pause. And that pause doesn't mean that you ignore situations or stop helping people completely. It simply means the thought is no longer the same thing as a decision. You can see the suggestion and then decide whether the situation actually needs your involvement. That difference might sound small, but it changes such a lot. Because once you start noticing that moment, you begin to see how often it appears. You begin to recognize the number of situations your mind immediately claims is yours to fix. And that is often where people realize just how much of their energy is being quietly used throughout the day. Recognizing the thought doesn't immediately change the behavior, though. And at first, you may still step in just out of habit. But now you're able to see the pattern while it's happening, rather than only noticing the tiredness afterwards. Well, that awareness is important because it's the beginning of choice. The thought may still appear, but now it doesn't automatically decide what you do next. In the next episode, we're going to look at what happens once that pause begins to appear, and how protecting your energy sometimes means allowing situations to continue without you stepping in to improve them. Thank you for being here with me today, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening today. If you'd like to know more, you can find all the links down below. Oh, and don't forget to press subscribe so you can catch the next one. See you soon.